Yeah, so on Facebook, those who are watching, the recordings will be a little further, like the 10 minutes after this starting of the session, you can just go forward and check the actual content. We are waiting for others to join. So by that time, you guys can watch this 2 minutes clip. This is actually the presentation I'll run through. So just in case, this is a big presentation. So just in case if I miss something, so you'll be able to recollect that and remind me also. Yeah, I waited for you guys to start. Sorry. I know the. Thank you. Facebook guys, this is there on our page, fp.com/get-solution. This video can be watched there. For participants here in person, we are doing this. Yeah, good afternoon everybody.
Good afternoon.
So this is little fast moving video, I know. All the slides couldn't have been grasped well. So never mind, I'll be going through that. And so without wasting much time, I'll straight away be starting it. Because morning those who have attended the plenary session, you realize that it's a long presentation, and with that 15 minutes of slot, it cannot be covered. So it was interrupted. But the flow was in sync, the way it was planned. So I'll just give little background of this cut and not cut portion. When I proposed that this title is title of my workshop and the talk will be "Let Us Be Vitality Conscious." Himanshu is a close friend of mine, so he doesn't intrude into the decision of the faculties, but he certainly proposed me, can it be vitality conscious? So I answered it can be, but removing letters will detach me in the process. I want to be involved in the process because it is ultimately co-evolution. It is ultimately co-evolution which matters, and that's very important to understand. Letters makes it evolving together. And here we are, here means in this universe, we are here to co-evolve. And that's a fact, like me telling or not telling, co-evolving is happening. As I said in the morning that this talk was planned and sketched by me and I am delivering it. If I feel pride of that I am doing it, then it's a foolishness of mine. Because background of this, there are a lot of things happening. Then only this is happening here in front of you. So that's the fact that co-evolution is a fact. Now, if co-evolution is fact, then why are we talking about it? Because co-evolution cannot be completed if you are not conscious about it. we need to be very conscious about this coevolution factor. If we are just thinking that yes, coevolution happening, so everybody is contributing to each other, I am also being benefited, so let me be benefited, why to be bothering about it? Now, here in this session, in this workshop, we'll be touching upon all those points that why we should bother about it. We need to be very conscious about this coevolution factor. And that is what is this vitality education going forward. Now, understanding of life and nature. This is the primary objective of this session and whole initiatives of Sci Solution. Now, this is based on those who have attended the plenary session, these portions were covered a bit, but I'll just, for those who were not there, I'll just cover it a little bit. So, these are based on two primary factors which are very much natural factors. Please settle down fast. Yeah. So, the primary first factor is the reasoning capability, for which actually mankind are known well. We have inbuilt reasoning capability. The proof? Watch a baby. How much questionful she is. She is always bubbling with question. And who has taught her to question? Nobody. Nature. It is the structure. It is the program. So, discouraging that questioning is a problem. So, questioning is a program. It should not be discouraged. That's the number one condition. And the second condition is substantial existence. So, there are debates actually. It's a perennial debate that which is first, mind or matter. There are ideologists and materialists. So, the complete philosopher groups are divided into these two ideologies, that whether am I idealist or a materialistic. Now, my company's name is Sci Solution, which leads to psychological solution. We believe that solution lies in psyche. So that means we are a mind company, right? Being a mind company, I am affirming that the matter is the first. Unless we take care of this body, this physical existence, mind will not work well. So that's the second important condition of this science, that we should take care of our body first. Not the second, not the third. The first is the body take care. Unless we take care of this substance which we have achieved or which have been passed on, whatever it may be, but we are the owner of this body, this substance. So we need to take care of that substance. So it is a materialistic science. It is purely a materialistic science. Now coming to the main point, vitality. What is this vitality? You can name it anything, but it is the force behind each and every activities of ours. Starting from blinking of eyes, talking, listening, walking, dancing, eating, digesting, assimilating, thinking. Everything is driven by this vitality. Without vitality, this body will be dead body. Right? So, we know that. Now, this science actually talks about this vitality management in particular. And the mode of understanding this vitality is absolutely scientific, with the cause and effect analogy. With the cause and effect analogy. And I start with the concepts of thermodynamics. We all know that thermodynamics proposed us 4 laws. First law, second law, third law. Incidentally, the 4th law is named as 0th law. Right? So, in particular, here we will be talking about the first law, which is nothing but the law of conservation of energy, which says in an isolated system, energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. So, with that understanding, we conclude that in this particular isolated system, which is covered in a, what is a system? System means system necessarily be a portion of the whole under some boundaries, right? So this system is under some boundary, there is no doubt. So the thermodynamics first law applies to a system which is the isolated system closed in a boundary. So with that, we conclude that this vitality can never be enhanced in the lifetime. This is very important understanding. The vitality which we have received during the formation of zygote, the sperm and the egg formed the zygote, and during that process of forming zygote, whatever the vitality we have received from the universe, so the parents are not the contributor of vitality, they are the contributor of the substance, because a form and formless makes a life. So the formless aspect is received from the universe, it is assimilated. So that assimilation is the final assimilation. After that, there cannot be any enhancement, and there cannot be, the better part is, there cannot be decreasing of that vitality also. The total quotient remains constant for us throughout our life, even after life, till the perishment of the body. Because that vitality works on the perishment of the body also after death. Right? And it applies to all the organisms. It is not limited to the mankind only. Now I will introduce two basic foundations of nature cure science. The vertical that I practice and research is a pure nature cure. It is based on the dialectical science. So, the voice of the organism. The voice of the organism is the primary and the first principle. What is this voice of the organism? We have lot of senses. We have lot of senses, we know them. Like we have 5 senses at the external peripheral level that interacts with the external world. But we have many senses inside also, which we sometimes choose to ignore. So this holistic sense is nothing but the voice of the organism, which is always conveying something to us, which is constantly conveying something to us. Now, we just need to listen to it. We are programmed to listen to it. But because of the different conditioning and different phases of the evolution of human intelligence, we have interrupted that. We have inculcated a habit of interrupting that. So we need to understand that to start with this understanding of this particular science called nature cure, and in particular nature and life. So I was talking about feelings. Now these feelings are 2 types: good feelings and bad feelings. The good feelings are sketched such a way that it is good for us. That is why we feel good. This is as simple as that. There is no rocket science needed to understand this. And bad feelings are to be rejected. We should not embrace bad feeling. That is the whole notion of the nature. Now, what happens here, because of the lot of misconditioning, we drifted from the actual good feeling and actual bad feeling. So we need to look back on that aspect. Now, in this process of understanding voice of the organism, we need to investigate the origin of the stimuli or stimulus which is creating that particular feeling. Origin of that stimulus, or if it is multiple stimuli which is creating this particular feeling. Right? Now, so origin analysis will give us, so this is called origin analysis of the voice of the organism. You can note it down also if you wish to. Though this particular writing board work I will be supplying to you in PDF form if you just send me a message through WhatsApp. Right. So now if you
just wait one second.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Actually, we are in a wrong room, and I was just thinking कि आप कुछ ऐसा शुरू करोगे जो जिसके लिए मैं आया हूँ. I'm really sorry. So I have to
okay. Please. You are a participant of this conference?
No, actually I was thinking there is a what was the topic?
So you are a part of other conference, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was thinking कि आप वहाँ तक पहुँचेंगे but.
Okay, please. Thank you. So Now, right, I was talking about the origin analysis. Now, origin analysis will give us two buckets. Either that particular stimulus or stimuli is from nature or it is artificial. Artificial means necessarily made by mankind. Right? Mankind intervened aspect. And if we go back to this, then the nature input, the nature stimulus is in sync with the nature's program. That is programmed to make good for us because it is programmed to give some good feeling. Now I gave that example in the morning that mango and mango jam. Mango and mango jam both give us good feeling, good taste. Now mango is from nature in this area. In this area the mango comes and in this area the jam comes. So outright the rule is this artificial has to be rejected and the natural aspect should be embraced without any limitation. Without any limitation, I repeat, till you get satiated, because we have the regulator inside. How many mangoes you can have together? The first mango will be very tasty, then the intensity will be reducing. After 4 or 5 mangoes, if you are very mango lover like me, then after 4 or 5 mangoes, you will feel that no, I am enough. Now after some more time, I will be having another spell of mango. So that way the regulator is there inside us. So if it is a nature originated stimulus, don't restrict yourself to embrace it. That's the first condition. And if it is a bad feeling, very easy to understand because food is something that we can relate very easily. So if that particular food without combination, this is very important, without combination means combining with anything else, if it is creating some bad feelings, then without a second thought we need to reject it. That's not good for us. Example, chili. Example, pepper. Black pepper. So these are not human food. Just think about a situation. You visited a person's house and you are offered in a plate full of chili and water. How do you feel? This is not meant to eat, right? We actually confuse ourselves and bluff ourselves. This gatekeeper who is standing here helping us, we just bluff. Anybody is here who doesn't take chili at all? Nobody, right? Including me. I am reducing it, consciously I am reducing it, but I am not off chili completely. So chili is actually creating irritating behavior, irritating sense. So chili is a cause of irritation, and irritation is third stage of disease as per nature cure. So it is itself is a disease. Irritation is a disease itself. So why to embrace it? By bluffing ourselves. So food for thought, right? So with that, I will drift to the next foundation of nature cure, which is law of unity. Law of unity, actually, this at the starting only I talked about conscious. Sir,
can we ask a question or can you want to straight to the end?
Yeah, that's better because let the flow go in. Is that right, sir?
Yeah.
So, so the law of unity. Law of unity is understanding this conscious co-evolution, the whole, realization of the whole. So I'm not going to go in that far of metaphysical level that we all are connected on those stuff. I started with that. But at the very individual level, you have a health problem, right? You have a health problem. How do you know that? Through symptoms. Some symptoms you feel a pain, or you feel some kind of irritation or whatever, kind of anxiety or whatever name you give. You feel some symptom, right? Now, with that kind of malpractices of conditioning, we rush to get rid of that symptom without going deeper into the aspect of cause. Why it is caused, we don't go and find out. We focus on the symptom. So it is not about the symptoms, but the cause. That is what is this understanding about nature and life. Now, when these two principles, right? These two foundations, one is the voice of the organism and second is the law of unity. Now, when we keep on consistently define law of unity and not listening to the voice of the organism, what happens? What happens is the toll on the vitality, because each and every activities that we do, that is performed by whom? The vitality. Each and every activity, blinking of eyes also. So the moment you take a chili, you cross the gatekeeper, but what about the inside? It starts fighting. It starts fighting with it. So what it eats up? Our vitality. It eats up our vitality. So if these things happen consistently, we keep on defining the things, define those two simple norms, voice of the organism and law of unity, then we lead to a point which is called innervation. And that is the start of any disease, let it be anything. Excessive depletion of vitality. Excessive depletion of vitality is the innervation. So, the connecting the dot is very easy. Those two things we are defining consistently, continuously, then we take a toll on the vitality, then we feel this is excessive tiredness. Just you can, in layman language, it is a tiredness which you sense, then you defy, then you suppress. Those all things are associated, but it is nothing but tiredness. And body tries to convey this tiredness regular basis. Now, if that happens, what happens next? If that happens, then this is again another simple understanding. See, all the machines that we use in our day-to-day life, it is a replication of organisms. This body is replicated in forms of machines to reduce our efforts. That's what is the definition of machine, right? Now, this body also has got the same norm. There is an input, there is a processing, and there is an output. So when we continuously do this, that innervation, body has to perform these also, irrespective of the fact that we innervate ourselves or not. Body has to perform this also. So these are the orders 1, 2, 3. When body doesn't have enough vitality. So to understand vitality, since you understood that it's a fixed quotient, so just take this, that you have 100 of levers inside you. Few are engaged, few are not engaged. Right? So this engagement will be happening within this 100 numbers. Now, if you have less number of levers to engage, if you have less levers to engage in certain activities, then the body is our best friend. It will try to give the best of the senses every time. It tries its best to give the best of the senses. Now, it affects actually the third action which body does. Input, processing, then output. Output gets curved. And what are the outputs? Outputs starts with, anybody is on phone? Please make it silent. So, stool, urine, sweat, and breathing. So these 4 are the output channels. The first one is the excretion, and all rest of 3 are eliminations. Excretions and elimination. These 2 are also very deep understanding. Eliminations actually helps us to purify blood. Excretion doesn't help us to purify blood. So we actually go deep into this aspect in our courses. So just an information that we confuse ourselves by saying the stool is an elimination. It is not an elimination. It is an excretion. Because you put inside, then it throws out the waste matters which you have put inside. There is no channel through which blood is purified in digestive system. Blood is purified into these three channels: kidney, lungs and skin. Kidney, lungs and skin. So these are the elimination. So these four activities are curbed, are reduced. When it is reduced, what happens? What is this output actually? The output is nothing but throwing the toxins from inside. That is what for this output programmed within us. So if this happens, the reduction of these outputs, then toxins get accumulated. And if that happens, then we lead to a state called toxemia. And this toxemia is a single disease which is started at the point of innervation. Now, wherever these toxins get accumulated, we give a name to that particular symptom. And we end up giving different kind of glamorous names like diabetes, hypertension, whatnot, arthritis. Arthritis means accumulation of the toxins in the joints. Diabetes means affecting the pancreas because of the toxin accumulation. Kidney stone, the stone accumulation. From where the stone comes. We don't eat stones, right? And we know in geography the formation of stone. Over the years, the soil becomes stone. So that stone gets formed inside because of the toxin accumulation, consistent toxin accumulation. This is an important understanding. So accumulation of toxin due to innervation is toxemia, if we opt to define toxemia. Now, from here, it is quite common in nature cure. Those who know about nature cure and attended the camps in nature cure, up to here you are able to relate. Up to here you are easily relating the things, I'm sure. There are few participants of my course also which I conduct online, offline. So now after this point, we need to go a little deeper scientifically to make it understandable for the young generation primarily. Because if we do not connect the dots using the same framework they are studying, they will not be able to connect. So here comes the physics, density. Now, clear water, salted water, which is denser? Salted water, right? Clear blood, toxic blood, which is denser? Toxic blood. So the toxemia is a state of toxic blood. Toxemia is a state of toxic blood. So it is a denser state of us. It is a denser state of us. This is as clear as possible, right? Any doubt on this? I can take these specific doubts in between because these are very important aspects. A lot of physics will be there, and I'm sure there will be people who think that they don't have background of physics, but these are very elementary observatory physics. This is not a lab oriented physics which is included in this course or presentation, right? So when I say observatory, means you observe and you define the things and give a name. So density is such kind of aspect. Now, so this is understood that the toxemia is a state of higher density. Toxemia is a state of higher density. Now, before I go to connect other aspects of reversal, we need to understand this aspect that, so okay, there is an objective of we attending this class or the course to implement, right? What is the point of just hearing and listening and all this stuff? So I aspire to go to your students, but I would love to go through you. That is what is the co-evolution we talked about. So it starts with you and you only. So the reversal plan which we are going to discuss here, it has to be implemented by you first, before you aspire to take it to the students. Ideally, before students, parents and teachers, both. Right? So what is this reversal plan? This is again the same, connecting the cause. Cause was innervation, we understood that. Now if we curb that innervation, then we get reverse, we get extra quota of vitality within us, conserved vitality, and that will push the toxin out. Because ultimately, naturally, if we wish to get rid of the problem, we have all the facilities, options of suppressing it. You can, if you have a pain, you can take a painkiller and you'll feel that the pain has gone away. But you know it and you have to explain that that's a suppression. Nothing but suppression. Now, if we wish to get ourselves cured naturally, then we have to opt conscious, consistent conservation of vitality. That is the single reversal plan. It may take longer. So, disclaimer, I am not a doctor. I aspire to imitate you guys. I aspire to be a teacher. So, I teach to learn. That's the goal of my life as of now. Now, so the reversal plan, for the reversal plan, the consistent conservation of the vitality. Now, let's understand how density can be connected to other aspects of physics. So, density equals to mass upon volume. We know this, right? Now, density is directly proportional to the mass if volume is constant. Very easily understandable, right? Now, if that is there, now let's talk about speed. Now, speed is very much dependent on the mass. I can easily move this, but I cannot easily move this because of the mass factor. If the mass is higher, then it requires more force to move. If the force is constant and mass is higher, then the speed will be lesser. Any doubt? If the force is constant and mass is higher, then the speed will be lesser. We can go into the Newton's law of motions, but why to make it complicated? It is easily understandable. We can push a cycle or a car maximum, but we cannot push a truck. Right? So, the speed is inversely proportional to the mass, and we can infer that the speed is inversely proportional to the density. Right? So, this is the second concept after the density, the speed. So, that means in a toxic body, the speed will be lesser. The speed of the circulation will be lesser. Am I right? So, the vitality which is pushing the blood will not be able to push the blood the way it was in case of the pure blood, if it is a toxic blood. So, the density is going up, speed is going down, and you can relate. In your ill state, you will be finding very lethargic. You don't have a lot of speed within it. You will find it, right? Now, let me introduce another aspect which is called heat. Now, we know states of matters. We know states of matter: solid, liquid, gaseous. Solid, liquid, gaseous. Solid, if you apply heat, then it becomes liquid. The liquid, if you apply heat, it becomes gaseous, and vice versa. Right? So, what is happening in the density aspect? The density is reducing. When you apply heat, density reduces. When you apply heat on a substance, density reduces. That means higher the density, lower the heat definitely. So, the heat content in a solid substance will be lesser than the heat content in the liquid substance. Am I clear on that aspect? Right? So, we can again conclude this way, that the heat within the body is inversely proportional to the density. Right? If the density is higher, the heat content will be lower, because all the molecules will be heating up your heat, and heat is nothing but your vitality. It's a form of energy, and vitality is nothing but, in physical science we call it energy, right? So here I introduce the concept of density, speed and heat. I'll come back to the color of the fonts little later. There is a meaning. By now you have watched that these colors are only being used: green, red and violet, right? So there is a meaning behind it. I'll come to that. Now this density, if you want to address the density primarily, then what you need to do as a first step, you need to change the input patterns. You need to change the input patterns which will give you lesser dense food. And what is the meaning of lesser dense food? The food which has ample of cohesive water. This is another term to be written. Cohesive water. Cohesive water is the water which evolves in nature. So you are making a curry, potato curry, and you are putting a lot of water thinking that the density is lessened. It will not work that way. The food which has got water inside, which is evolved through the earth, that determines the density of the food. So we have to give ourselves more and more less dense food and lot of cohesive water. That is the input management. And we will come to details about that input management. Then the speed. Now, when the density is reduced, the speed will automatically be going up. But we know the theory of ratio proportional. If we go approach other way, if we increase the speed, then the density also will be reduced. Am I correct? So just try and understand. If any doubt on this point, please raise your hand and get clarified. The holistic doubts can be written down, but this particular point is very important. So if the density is lessening, then the speed is increasing. Now if we approach the other way, if we approach through the speed way, if we increase the speed somehow, then also there will be an impact on the density, right? Though this is the easiest way, this is the primary way, but this also has got a lot of connection. Right, ma'am? At the end?
And force remains constant?
Force
remains constant?
Vitality is constant within us. The quotient, total quotient is always constant. That's the primary understanding of this science, right? And we can have a lot of debates on this, because that is where we disconnect from the medicinal world. You know, the understanding of vitality, whether it can be increased or not, it is a confusion for that word altogether. So now coming to the heat, the same relation. If the speed can be enhanced, density can be lowered. If the heat can be enhanced, the density can be lowered. Same relation? No doubt? So then we can replace those words by inputs, actions and thoughts. Because, why thoughts? Because each of the thoughts occupies heat, occupies vitality. And on an average, we have 120 thoughts per second in our mind going on. How many thoughts we can actually identify? So lots of thoughts are going beyond conscious, generated by body, generated by lot of other beyond conscious inputs. So thought, if you lessen the thoughts in the mind, doing anything, through many modes are there. Meditation is one of the prominent mode. And you can actually correlate with this understanding that how heat is connected to the thought. You have heard about yogis going to the Himalayas and doing sadhanas without wearing clothes. How is that possible? Because they have very least number of thoughts in the mind and lot of heat within, lot of vitality within. So the thought can be replaced in the heat, in place of heat, right? Are you with me?
Yes.
Right. Are you enjoying? Getting something new?
Yes.
Right. Now next slide, I'll have a drink of water. Now 3 R's. All organisms are equipped with 3 R's. Repair, reproduce and react. Repair, reproduce and react. These 3 R's. Now this repairing is a program within ourselves, because the complete nature is trying to maintain the homeostasis. Homeostasis means a state of neutrality. Whenever there is a drift, it tries to bring back to make the balance. And that is the repairing capability that we term. So it is happening within us also. Whenever there is a problem, the body tries to recover from that. It's an innate. If you get cut in your hand, I had this cut a week back. It was a deep cut. I didn't apply anything, but it is healed. Who did it? We know this experience is with us. If you don't apply any medicine or so-called band-aids, then also it gets healed, right? So we have that capability inside to heal. That is the repairing capability. And the second capability, we know it. We have the capability to reproduce, to bring the next offspring on this planet. So that is innate capability of each and every organism. We need to just keep those exceptions aside, those who are biologically incapable within the species. Right? So those are unfortunate aspects, but as a capability we have repair, reproduce. And what is react? Well, these two things are, these are programs. We'll repair, we consciously give attention or not, we'll repair. Reproduction also will happen that way. Just an act of sex. After that, the pregnancy will occur and the things will be happening on its own. So what are we left to do? Reactions. That is what is the creativity, for which we are known. Like our opt of reacting to this universe, to this planet, is through creativity. We try to bring some uniqueness in our approaches. That is programmed within. Now, because of many reasons, we choose to not to execute that many a time. We'll come to that, the reasons. Right? So, now, when I talk about the repair, I am talking about the maintenance of this substance. Am I correct? Now, that substance is nothing but taking care of myself first, because this substance is mine. So, can I replace this with union, unison? Is one. So we need to take care of one first. The moment we are satiated to take care of ourselves, what is that moment? The optimum physical growth. When we attain the optimum physical growth, that time we actually go for union phase. We try and connect with another individual and bring a new offspring on this planet. That is what is the union. When the physical growth is complete, then we are programmed to take the next phase of life, which is union. Right? And this is the 0th law of thermodynamics, which says if you bring two bodies together, it will come to a thermal equilibrium and there will be possibility of introducing a third body which will grow independently. That is the 0th law of thermodynamics, which was actually discovered after first, second and third, but because of the importance of this law and independence on the other aspects of thermal equilibrium and thermodynamics, all scientists got together and named it as 0th law, because this is unique in itself. So it was to be termed as 4th law, but it was termed as 0th law because of its importance. And that is nothing but the union phase. And the unison. Unison is nothing but the experiencing conscious co-evolution. conscious co-evolution. When you see that, when you understand that, you see a lot of opportunities to execute your creativity. To execute your creativity. I gave that example. I was traveling from Agra to Delhi for this lecture. Now, that time, parallelly, these guys were setting up the stage. Himanshu was not sleeping in the night to prepare all the stage programs. Somebody was arranging the accommodation. So everything was happening together. So now, when I understand that, don't I feel relaxed? Don't I feel relaxed that I am taken care of? I am not the only person to execute my task. There are the supports. So on a lighter note, but it is a serious note, I don't have a big marketing team as of now. We plan to expand, but right now we don't have any big marketing team. We do ourselves. So now, when I am asked that who does your marketing, how do you get the participants in the camps and the online courses, I answered that my team works. So what does it mean? If it is a one-man army, then what is that team? I consider Mark Zuckerberg as my team. Because if he would have not created Facebook, I would have not got my participants in my course. Or for that matter, WhatsApp. So it is my team only. They are working for me. Isn't that a state of relaxation? And the state of relaxation will end up creating the great things. The moment you feel the relaxation within and understanding this conscious co-evolution is nothing but getting that relaxation within. Thought-wise. That is what is the unison. The meaning of unison is working simultaneously, being apart. So, union, unison. Now the problem that we suffer from when we don't address these issues. When I say these issues means the is unsatiated. Union is unsatiated. We don't get the scope to explore unison. When we gallop, we suffer. Gallop means we don't take care of the stage, we drift to the union stage. So, child pregnancy. Suffering. We take care of stage, but we choose to remain child free, which I was. You can opt to get a copy of my book, Montage of My Life. I was married in 2001 and we chose to remain child free. So 2016, our daughter born, after we drifted our lifestyle. Then we realized that something wrong is going on. So we were fortunate to remain fertile till then. So we went for the baby and it happened. But this may be a risky to opt for not to have baby at times. For the young people, I'm just learning. Because the moment you gallop, there will be unsatiation inside which you will not be sensing consciously. For example, if you don't give yourself or give your kid the right food in the stage of then throughout the life, that person will be craving for food because of that unsatiation. Quality was not given to the child, not given to the individual. So, here I try to explain this theory through this cones or triangles. This green area is and here the phase completes. So this phase is a completion of physical growth. After that, you are ready to procreate. You are ready to procreate. I am very particular to use this procreation because mankind doesn't do just reproduction. Unlike other species, we do procreation and that ends only after one of either the child or the parent dies. It goes on and on. We take care of our child. We saw Professor Harish getting tears in his eyes at this time when the child is grown enough. Going back to that incident of excellence. So that is what is the procreation that we enjoy, and we are programmed to do that. We need not to put effort to do that, right? So the union starts when we attain the total physical maturity. That's very important. Then we are ready to take the next step. And what happens? Mathematically, what happens? You wear one here. Now, in the union phase, you become 2 plus 1. You expand yourself. You see a part of your body growing in front of you without being connected to you. How amazing is that? A part of your body growing in front of you without being connected to you, it is growing. And you can relate the kind of connect that you feel towards your offspring, towards your child. So that's actually mathematically we are expanding. 1, then 2 plus 1, 3 or many. It depends upon your decision, and all those facilities are there with us. Now, this is not the end of it. This is not the end of it, because we are here to grow. First physically, then cognitively. And what is the cognitive growth? The cognitive growth is more we connect, more we grow. More we connect, more we grow. So that program of connection is executed with the union phase. You get attracted to a person who is not connected to you familiarly. So you connect and you feel related. What is the relation? Psychological action is seeing myself in that person. So I feel happy if she is happy. I feel sad if she is sad. That is what is nothing but expansion of yourself. Then comes the offspring, the child. There actually it's a combination of physical growth and the cognitive growth, because you see your body growing. It is your body only. It was your part. It was your contribution. Forming a union with another person, it was your physical contribution. So it is growing in front of you, and the union phase goes on till the time the offspring gets the physical maturity. After that, if you can satiate yourself in this phase, in a rational way of procreation, after that you will feel detached from your offspring, because you have already excelled to connect with others. So that doesn't mean that discarding the child completely, but you go for expanding further to connect with the universe. Whatever you see around, you connect yourself and you feel, you see your image. So in our level 2, we have a strategic module for expansion of self on this aspect. So that's a level 2. Level 1 is the basic. So just I thought to give you some hint about it, that this is the ultimate growth, but that has to happen without galloping. And you can relate, there are saints, we know, we don't want to name them, they have done this unison super level, but suffered the health, and you not to name them, right? So because they did not take care of the stage, they have not taken care, they were ignorant. It is not that intentionally they have not taken care of, but they were ignorant about the taking care, and they did not bother for it. They went for the unison directly. So that's the individual choice and individual suffering. When we, as I started with that, this science is for you and for you only. So if you wish to take care of yourself, if you have an opportunity to think about this and opportunity to execute these phases well, because the phase can be reversed at any point in time. It is just reversing the quality of food, nothing else. Quality of food and other few factors of lifestyle which we will cover. Now at the stage of union, if we fail to connect sexual activities with procreation, I repeat, if we fail to connect procreation with the sexual activities, then we land up some irrationality and some kind of irrational sexual behavior. All these problems, the sexual problems in the adolescence, all these things are happening because of that lack of connection with the procreation. So when I say connection with the procreation, definitely it is not the fact that number of times you will make love, you will procreate, but you should have a connection with the partner, that procreative connection. I'm not going ethical here. It's not wife or living, nothing like that. But there should be a connection of procreation. You should plan for procreation with that partner, or you have done procreation with that partner. That is the sense of sex. Sex is not just an act of sex. And we go deeper into these aspects in our courses, and we spend around 4 or 5 hours on only sense of sex. And the irrationality related to that. So now I would love to replace those three unison with these three things: reasons, flexibility, and emergence. Because a child gets attracted to the mother because of food, because of the reason. So that's a phase we are very much reasonable. We reason out and take the steps. We are very much reason conscious. So that's the first phase of reason. Then, when you go for procreation, just relate yourself how much flexibility you need to be. You need to listen to a lot of irrational things, lot of dramas of your child, you need to bother. So, what you are doing, you are making yourself flexible. You were rigid. I am not going to compromise with my preferences. The child used to say till the time of the another child comes from that person. Then after that started getting adopted to. So that's the flexibility, execution of the flexibility, right? So we don't need only physical flexibility, we need cognitive flexibility. So if we exercise regularly, what do? We increase our flexibility. So we decrease the density, we increase our heat. That's what we do physically when we do. But this cognitive flexibility is one which conserves a lot of vitality, and when we have lot of vitality within, then we actually see the unseen things. Because the ESPs, are you aware about the ESPs? Extra sensory perceptions, that gets enhanced. Your senses gets enhanced because of the lot of vitality, because every sense eats vitality. Every sense of yours eats vitality. If you have ample disengaged lever within, they will be engaging themselves in a better performance, and that is where you will be increasing your sensory perception, and something was here but you were not noticing, now you are able to notice it. And what is that term? Emergence. Right? Something comes from nowhere is called emergence. But we have experienced in our life that I was searching for this pen was lying down here, but we were not able to see it. Then Rakhi comes, Monta's mother, this pen is here only. Where are you? I was engaged in some other sensory perception. So I was not able to notice it. Right? So the emergence comes when you make yourself flexible. So that particular cone can be replaced this way also. Reason, flexibility, emergences. How much time do I have? I have ample time now. 3. So here we got, yeah, so I'm actually running on the slides now. So now so we can take a couple of questions now, if you have. Sir?
No, I'm just wondering, I thought you said that vitality comes or is at the level of the zygote.
Yes.
Doesn't increase, doesn't decrease.
Yes.
And then you said reconstruct vitality, conserve vitality.
Yeah.
So it gets spent and conserved or
Yeah.
reversed?
So we have a concept called vitality river. In our course we teach that. So I can actually pull in that presentation. I can just give you a glimpse about that. In fact, last year in EDUCARNIVAL I introduced vitality river for the first time.
If it's going to take long, we can
No, it's not. But this is very important. That's why I thought to show this, because this illustration gives us the idea that how vitality looks like. The vitality quotient, if we just name this as point A, point B, AB is fixed. This C goes up and down. This goes up and down. So the red portion is the spent vitality and the green portion is the conserved vitality. When we have lot of green, we feel very energetic. Disengaged level within.
Yes, but if it is spent, then how can it be reversed?
Yeah.
Spent means, to my understanding, spent means gone. It's finished. It's
Yeah. I understand. So vitality being spent could be a better word. It is something like that lever analogy that I have given. You have a set number of levers within, which are engaged or disengaged. Engaged or disengaged. Right? So more disengaged lever within, more sense of life you have.
So let me.
Sir.
When you say spent, you are saying that is being utilized.
Being utilized. Yes.
When that utilization ends, still there.
Yes. So when it is, so we can actually replace this word vitality engaged, vitality disengaged. That's a cue for correction, for a better understanding, right? So I need not to go further on this, right? Any other question? Yes, ma'am.
So exercising reduces vitality or increases vitality?
Okay, so the correct way of exercising cumulatively conserved vitality. We don't use the word increasing because that is confusing.
Yeah.
Conserved vitality. So the right way of exercise conserves vitality. If we strain yourself a lot, voice of the organism is the cue. If you, while doing the exercise, if you enjoy it, then it is for you. If you don't enjoy it by any conditioning, if you are doing it and stretching yourself beyond your capability, beyond your bearing capability, then it is a strain. Sir?
What are the things that we can do to reverse?
Yeah, those are coming. That's why I was very concerned about.
Before that.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Sir.
There are many moments in our lives when we feel we are highly engaged in some activity.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that in that phase, our vitality, the engaged vitality is quite high.
Yes.
But that is also very energizing.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
understand, so is there any disconnect between?
No, there is no disconnect. Just one thing, why this education is needed. If we up to, that's a spurge of creativity, spurge of creativity. For example, whenever there is some course going on or otherwise also it becomes a pattern of mine, I get up by 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. I sleep by 9 o'clock for sure. Right? Initially when I started this lifestyle, I used to sleep up to 6, 7 or 5. Now slowly and gradually the quality enhanced and my sleep span got reduced. The physical hour of the sleeping got reduced. Right? Now today I got up at 1:45. Now till now I am not feeling any lack of energy. Right? For that I need to do some management also. I need to spend lesser vitality in all other aspects. Right? For example, I did not have lunch. I did not have lunch because lunch will be engaging my vitality a lot on digesting the cooked food. So I had my fruits. So these all management needs to be understood by the creative people, that engaging in a creative activity takes a lot of vitality, but you need to understand the importance of vitality conservation by conserving other aspects of the life if you want to go ahead with your creativity. Right? Yes, ma'am.
So making lunch is simply affect our vitality.
Yes, I understand. That's why I mentioned that I have ample of fruits. Half of my suitcase is full with fruits. If you can come to the room and show it. So, whenever I feel hungry, I take something. That should be very less dense. So that the toll on the vitality is lesser.
So what's the point in getting up at 2 o'clock? Like night is for basically sleeping.
Right. I understand that. The same concern my mother has, that you don't take care of your health. She says, and she doesn't say politely like you. Right? So now point here, what I continue, and because I am concerned, I am a very selfish person, I need to take care of myself. This is the first condition that I propose and practice also. So when I get up, I stay on the bed for next half an hour. Next half an hour, or I don't bother for the time, but because I have ample of time in the morning, right? So I just check whether I am really fresh or it is just waking up in between. When I feel fresh completely, then I go to the computer. Because I have to work. I am fresh, and irrespective of the time, because time is a human conception, that should not govern us. But we have rationale of sleeping early. That's very important. Yes, ma'am.
How about the biological cleansing of the body? When we sleep at night, we just don't sleep. Body simply does not only take rest, it also cleanses the body. Each body part is getting cleansed.
Repairing mode. Yes,
so, I think this repairing doesn't get over by till 3 or 4.
Who will decide that, ma'am? Your freshness will decide that. That's what I explained. Okay. Whether the repairing is over or not will be identified by your freshness. That is one of the major voice of the organism. Right? If you are feeling fresh after the sleep, if it is a lesser physical hour sleep, don't bother. What matters is the quality. Yes, ma'am.
I believe it is an individual call. I believe it is an individual call.
Absolutely. This is an individualistic approach. This is completely an individualistic approach.
Yeah. It cannot be.
And depends on the input also. You are taken less than
You become what
Yes. All those aspects are associated. All the 8 factors that I will be covering will be. So let me drift to those aspects, because these all things will go on. You can join anytime my online courses. January program is starting from 24th to 27th January. It's a full-time online. So if you are on a job, you need to take leave, even if it is online. It is a very rigorous course. Day long there will be multiple live sessions and assignments and all those stuff will be there, but all the things will be covered in details. Right. So I'll just go to the implementation plan first. Then if time is left, then I'll touch upon the Einstein's formula of E equals to mc square. That's very interesting to understand. That we have read that, but how to relate it with life. So we'll go to that if time permits. Yeah, implementation steps. So the tips of conserving vitality is under 3 domains. The tips of conserving vitality is under 3 domains. Can you switch off the flash now? Yeah. Thank you. So the input has got 4 aspects: radiation, air, water, and the solid food. Because we need these 4 things. Like if you look at the organisms, then there are autotrophs and heterotrophs. Autotrophs, they can assimilate RAW, radiation, air and water. They can produce their own food. But heterotrophs, directly or indirectly, will be depending for food on autotrophs. We are heterotrophs. So we do assimilate RAW, but we need support of solid food also. So these four aspects are the primary aspects of inputs to take care. Now as far as the radiation is concerned, so the radiation, these three types of radiations are there: solar, cosmic and terrestrial. Solar, cosmic and terrestrial. So these radiations, any question? So solar is the sun radiation, that is the primary for this galaxy. That radiation as much as possible till the time you get irritated. Till the time you get irritated. So start making a habit of staying outside as much as possible till the time you get irritated. Right? And I'll come back to the sun radiation because this has got a beautiful aspects of form and formless. If time permits, we'll go through that as well. Now cosmic radiation is the radiation other than the solar, all the radiations that are coming on this earth. And terrestrial radiation is nothing but the reflected radiation from the earth, reflected radiation from the human being also. So connecting people will give you better radiation also on that aspect. So radiation is one thing we should not deprive ourselves of. Right. Now the next is the air. Air is taken in through breathing, and breathing has got, you can just note down these things because I'm not writing because of the paucity of time. So breathing should be a rhythmic breathing. Breathing has got 4 steps. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold. In an ideal breathing, these rhythmic means the equal time distributions for each step. And rationals are there behind it. You need input, you need a processing time, that's why the first hold. Then you expel the toxin, exhale. Then the hold is needed because after you exhale, immediately if you inhale, you will take the toxin air in. So you need to give time to get it assimilated in the air. Then you take a fresh air back. So the 4 steps should be rhythmic. And I will tell you a stat. The minimum rhythmic breathing is 3 seconds per steps. 3 seconds per steps. 3 4s are 12. 12 5s are 60. So that means in a minute we should have 5 cycles. But the number says we end up having 10 to 15 cycles per minute. That kind of shallow breathing that you have. So you need to have deep conscious breathing at least once in a day for a particular period of time. Then if we inculcate that breathing regularly, that enhances the quality input. That's very important. Then the fresh air. We know about air pollution. So try to be in the greens as much as possible. That will enhance the fresh air input. Now coming to the water. Human being is not a drinking animal. We are suckling animal. We should sip water. We should not drink water. And we should have as much as possible cohesive water. So eat your water, sip your water, try to chew your water, and eating water means eat as much as fruit possible. Because the fruits has got 80% of purest water. No RO can give you that kind of quality. Right? And then if you have an RO installed which is in urban setup, which is undeniable fact, we all have to go for this. So enhancement of the water also can be employed. So take the water in a earthen pot, keep it in the sun for 3 to 4 hours before consumption. That will enhance. So cover it with the cotton cloth. It will enhance because the earthen pot will have pores and the sun radiations will have particles that will go into the water. it will enhance the water. So mountain water is the best water because it is exposed to the solar radiation maximum. It comes from the mountain and flows to you. That is the best quality water. The quality enhancement can be employed at home through that mechanism of earthen pot. You can go for multiple earthen pots and you can just start rotating those. Right? Keep it in your balcony, east facing if it is better. So, the quality enhancement. Now comes very interesting aspect of the solid food. So, solid food, by now you understood that I am talking about the raw food primarily, right? But let's try and understand why raw, right? That's very important.
One question. Can you elaborate on cohesive water?
Yeah, cohesive water is the water which I have covered actually, we were not there that period of time. Cohesive water is the evolved water which comes through the earth, right? So, take a mango juice, you add water, that will not reduce the density. So, mango pulp, if you are taking, the water in it will define its density, which is the cohesive water. Clear? So, yeah, so solid food. Solid food primarily raw. So, I will not go details on the aspects of type of food, but you can just note it down. 50, 35, 10, 5 is the percentage recommended by Pure Nature Cure. 50 is the fruits, 35 is the vegetable, 10 is the legumes, rice, grain, all those, potatoes, which needs little bit of steaming. Without steaming, you cannot consume that. That has to be 10. And 5 is the nuts category, concentrated category, which has life inside. So the definition of concentrated category is life inside. It is a complicated form, right? You saw a nut, it becomes a plant, right? So that means the life is there inside. So it's a complicated and it takes a lot of vitality to disintegrate. And necessarily each food has to undergo these two steps, disintegration and reintegration. Disintegration and reintegration. I'll just quickly talk about this raw story. So you take a mango, it gets disintegrated, then it gets reintegrated. And the mango was an integrated form of RAW, right? So there are 3 steps involved in getting the RAW for us. First, integration by the tree, then disintegration by us, which is a catabolic action, then reintegration is an anabolic action to form the body cells. So 1, 2, 3. Now let's take that mango to a factory. The factory will do a disintegration. Then it will do a reintegration. Then that reintegrated form of mango jam will be consuming and we will be disintegrating that first. Then we will do the disintegration. Then post that, it is again reintegrated into body cells. Now here, if you see 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5. So there are 5 steps. Longer the chain, toll on the vitality will be more. Longer the chain will make the substance complicated. Longer the chain will make the substance complicated and that will take larger amount of vitality from us. So we are talking about the vitality conservation, nothing but vitality conservation. Right? So now we can take a kind of just consider this as chicken, right? But chicken has consumed grains and chicken has disintegrated it, then reintegrated it, then that reintegrated chicken, this was the integrated RAW, the grains. Then the disintegrated and reintegrated form of chicken, you cut it and eat it? No, you don't do that, right? Huh? So you take it to the kitchen. The chicken is taken to the kitchen now, and you do the disintegration of that chicken. Then you reintegrate into a chili chicken, right? Then that reintegrated chili chicken is consumed by us. We disintegrate that and then we reintegrate that. So the steps involved are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do you need any rocket science to explain this? Why we should eat raw as much as possible? Because the question is vitality conservation. So replace this chicken with cauliflower, the curry of cauliflower also. It will reduce 2 steps, but again 5 steps. Right? So mankind cannot produce a healthy food. Cannot make a healthy food. We need to compromise with health if we consume more and more man-made food. Be it in the home kitchen or in the hotel or in the factory. This is a raw fact. Sir.
Steamed vegetable.
Steamed vegetable is just you are introducing RAW only without enhancing. So enhancement of the taste is the evil here. If we enhance the taste, human way, we actually bluff here.
But our digestive system is not designed to take raw.
Who says that? Who says that?
That is a product.
No, who says that? Who proposes that? What is the cause?
If we take solid grains,
Can we?
consume solid grains, pulses, without any kind of processing?
We cannot. That's why. So the grain is natural food for birds and mice. It is not human natural food. It takes a lot of vitality. So lesser grain is the better, and you can identify. You can take some of rice without taste enhancement. But lot of rice needs curry, dal, all these things.
No, I'm not even saying that enhancement. I'm just saying without boiling it, for example.
No, without boiling you cannot take. Now boiling is allowed because you are just introducing fire and water, which is a part of RAW. Right? So this is not a combining anything to enhance the taste. It enhances the taste just applying RAW. So, yes sir.
Palatability is also an important aspect. Maybe.
I am not getting who is asking. Your hand is in front of you more. Yeah, palatability is the satiation thing, right? You get satiated with palatable food. So that is the natural food. You need to identify whether the nature is making it palatable for you or not. Sir.
We have this organization called OJAS.
Okay.
I don't know whether you have heard of it. OJAS is an organization.
Okay.
It promotes what you are saying.
Okay. So you can talk on that because sir, paucity of time. If related to this, any question is there, I can take up. Sir.
A question. So are we saying that in this chain there is nothing? So let's take the example of chicken.
Chicken.
If we eat chicken, there is nothing which is getting added to us by way of protein. So doctors say that you should eat protein, and in fact, my wife is a pure vegetarian, and then sometimes she suffers because of this, because they say that okay, if you are a pure vegetarian, then you should take paneer or.
So that way of looking at the health is a symptomatic way of looking at the health. The way you are saying, under different situations we end up doing that, end up opting that, but there are other ways also handling it. Right? So here,
better ways of doing it.
Better way, let's make it other way only for now, because if I proclaim better way, that's a maybe non-relatable term for you guys. So other ways are there. So all initiatives that we are doing at Sai Solution is to bring this information at least. We are not fighting with any industry, any medicine industry or medical initiatives. Those are fact and those are facilities. We are using this technology, right, to conduct classes. We cannot deny these facilities. Time and again we need to opt for facilities, that's a fact. But how many people know that there are other ways available? That's a big question, problem statement that we understood and started this initiative. This has to go. That is why I was so much excited when I discussed with Himanshu, and Himanshu took permission from Professor Chaudhary also to have this session. I'm really excited to introduce this to the young generation. And we are planning to make it a profession also in the level 3. So far we have two levels, level 1 and level 2, but we are constantly researching on bringing a level 3 which will make these kind of professionals, which will promote this education, making a professional valid career. Sir?
So even the raw food that you're talking about, fruits and vegetables,
Yes.
even those are having chemicals and
Yes.
lot of insecticides.
True, very true.
Talking about organic food means pure.
Okay, so the organic is the best thing, but if you don't have any access to organic, what would you do? You cannot starve yourself, right?
Can't afford it on government service. It's too expensive.
Right, agreed. So in Agra like city where I stay, we don't have any organic access. I used to conduct camps so far in Coimbatore. So there the organic hub, it is completely. So we used to provide all organic food. But in Agra, we don't have any access to organic. So every week I go to the wholesale market of fruits and vegetables and I pack my car and come to home with the normal food. Then we do little bit of cleansing, primarily cleansing of the fruits, and unripened fruits we prefer to bring in lot of quantity so that it gets ripened at home without the ripening agent. Right? So these are few tweakings of the things can make the things better. Sir?
So food, water. What can you do about air? If
Yeah.
you live in Delhi.
Right. So as much as green, so see the problem is there, it's a community effect. So our health is dependent on 3 factors. One is the genetic, second is the environment, and third is the lifestyle. Now genetic we cannot do anything. We cannot go back and make our parents better and get a better vitality. That cannot happen. Now environment is a community aspect. Individually we cannot do much. Definitely it's a long-term process, we should contribute to that. What is the left is the lifestyle. And that is the major aspect of this training. So through lifestyle management, how we can better our sense of life. Now action matters, I'll go a little faster. Is this room booked for some other session?
No, we'll only skip the tea break. That's okay.
This is the last.
Okay, so you can go little 10-15 minutes.
Yes.
So the action matters was the previous slide. Now under action we have 3 things: activities, spine care, and resting habits. Activities, spine care, and resting habits. Now activities includes exercise obviously, understanding of sex another. So these all aspects we need to take care to enhance circulation better and better within the body. So if you have an active life, active but poised life, that's very important, that you are active but hyper all the time. That will not work. If you are active and poised, you are maintaining a homeostasis in your mind, being active, you don't need to exercise. You really don't need to exercise. But if you don't have that, then you have to go for regular stretching exercises. Regular stretching exercises without going for exertion. That's very important. Right? And then the spine care. Why spine care? Because spine is the most important accessible organ of the body, part of the body. So most important accessible. So most important is obviously the brain. But brain comes with a default helmet. We cannot do a massage of the brain. Right? Head massage is possible, but brain massage is not possible. So, but the spine has got an accessibility. And this is the central axis of the body. Now, if we keep on standing like this, then we exert our spine. So, the posture management. The posture that you opt is very important. whether you give the equal load on both the sides of the spine. That's very important. And observation of your navel, the solar plexus. Solar plexus is the CG, center of gravity of our body. We should be able to hold the complete body weight on the solar plexus. But look at ourselves. Can we do that? Mayurasana? Have you seen? So that holds the complete load on your solar plexus. Right? So we need to observe the modification in the solar in this process of journey. I used to be a bulky. Those who know, sir knows me, that he was not able to identify me when I met after 3-4 years, I think. So I had a bulky tummy. Now it got into shape back. Look at a baby. When a baby born, everybody is fine. CG is intact, most of the cases. Right? So we need to actually opt the spine care and the navel observation and resting habits. Whenever you feel tired, you should rest without swaying that tiredness through stimulants that we do. Let me take a cup of coffee so that I will be energized. So that energizing, actually what happens, this stimulant is a highly toxic element. Whenever that toxin is given input, all the vitality rushes through to throw it out, and you feel, in the bargain, you feel that energy because the vitality rushes to throw that away. That is the mechanism happens inside. Why we feel energized after a sipping of coffee? Because of that rush of the internal vitality, because vitality cannot come from outside. So the resting habit. Then the thought pattern. So thought pattern is our, as a company, is our favorite topic, and we majority of the course is on the thought pattern and philosophical aspects. So just 2 points, because we cannot go much deeper into it. Lesser the better. Lesser the thoughts you have, better for vitality conservation. Now how to make it lesser? By going rational way. By going rational way. So I used to give this example. You are going for buying a cloth. Ask yourself why you are going for it. The answers will come differently. Somebody will say that I am going to buy this clothes to look good. Somebody will say to go for a fashion contest. Somebody will say that to impress somebody. Somebody will say, I am going for it to adjust my body with the climate. Which is most rational. Which is most rational. No rocket science to answer that, right? So now, why the rational analysis is very much important? Because with that thought, you will have lesser number of thoughts. Because to impress somebody, clothes is not enough, we know. Right? That's an irrational thought of buying a cloth to impress somebody. To look good is again an abstract. Because looking is your cleanliness, your psychological comfortability and physical comfortability. The clothes should be fit in you so that you are not restricted in the movement, and you should carry yourself in a right way, and it should be clean. Nothing beyond that. So if you think that the color of the cloth will make you look good, or the design of the cloth will make you look good, there is no end of the thoughts. Will this color be better or that color? Will this design be better or that design? N number of thoughts will be cropping in. So I am not going in an ethical way. I am just talking about yourself, the mechanism that is happening within you. So the beauty of rational analysis is bettering our choices and reducing the thought burden and conserving a lot of vitality. Think about that. So, right, so I will not extend further, just I will try and share this thing, the colors that I committed, that the used colors are very important. If you see the colors, the Visual colors, it starts from violet, goes to the red, red to violet, right? Now the frequency of violet is the highest and the red is the least. Wavelength is least, wavelength is more, right? Now the speed is high here and speed is less there, right? You understood this?
No.
Okay. So the colors
speed of all will be same. Line taken per wavelength may be lesser for violet.
Yeah, that's what is the speed. That's what is the speed. That is why the red light is employed in the traffic light because it is a slow speed light, slow speed color, and it stays longer in the eyes of the people.
That is least scattered.
Frequency is nothing but speed. Frequency is nothing but speed. Like we see that color and right.
We'll
So,
agree to disagree.
agree to disagree.
For a moment.
Okay.
Let's go on with the other.
Okay. So now what the point I'm trying to make is here are 7 colors, right? So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The midpoint is green. Green is the neutral color, and the nature is neutral. All around we see maximum greens, right? So the food is the green, the neutral, the food, the input is the green aspect. The management is the green aspect. And the moment we go for union, it should be a slow process. It should be a slow process. It should not be decided in haste. That is why this is a red. You see the red heart everywhere, Valentine's Day. That has a meaning, right? It's a slow process. And violet is a spiritual color. It's high speed. Connecting with the people. Connecting with the people, that unison phase is the violet. Because you make the connection faster. If you are enjoying unison, you will be able to connect with people very fast. Right? So with that note, I'll a few other things we can discuss, like formless is the high speed. We have these two aspects. I did not touch E equals to mc square. E is the formless. So, okay, let's agree on this point. Should we continue for another 10 minutes? Or how many hands? Okay. So let's touch that formless aspect also. Just let me finish this. Formless is the high speed. Static form is neutral. The autotroph surround is static, that is neutral. And the dynamic form, we are actually to be slow but consistent. Right? Okay, so before E equals to mc square, since this slides have appeared, let me announce that my online and in-person course, next batches are online is 24th to 27th. And 14th to 17th is in-person course batch, 4 days course. It's very dynamic course. It will be at Agra. This number you can note down. You can send a WhatsApp. We will send the details. So 7981. Ma'am, you guys are leaving. So you can take one card of this. Here the numbers are there. So right, and just one information regarding the commercial model which you will miss. The commercial model is a unique model that we follow. We don't price ourselves. We are not a no-profit company. We are for-profit company. But the individual participants price it. So the model that we follow is I value you. So we value the participants and participants value back absolutely capitalistic way. There is no kind of charity or the kind of no profit gain here. So this is the page link fb.me/get-solution, and there is some few copies are left in Edu Excellence stall of my book, where you will find the transformation that happened, if it can be called as transformation. I feel the transformation definitely. So that can be purchased, but few copies are left. Those who will not get, I'm acting ambitious that all copies will be sold. If that happens, then it is available on Amazon.in. So now let me go to that aspect of E equals to mc square. So this is little unusual to introduce this person in Nature Cure session because he never practiced Nature Cure that way, but he gave a great insight of the conversion process of formless and form. Because we have these two aspects. Something is form and something is formless. I am not going metaphysical. Emotions are formless, but the food, the body, the matter, everything is form, right? So now density is also one aspect of the form, and formless is least dense. Any doubt on that? Formless is least dense, density is not there, right? Now if we just check these, let it gets loaded. It starts with energy. Energy is a formless aspect. Then it drifts to particles. The radiation particle. So sunlight should not be taken from a glass door, because the particles will not enter through the glass door. You will get the heat, but you will not get the benefit of the particles, and what we need is the particle, right? So energy, then particles, then air, then water, then solid food. So the density is increasing. Do you see here? The density is increasing, right? So it started with the formless. Energy is a formless entity. It got into this D5 up to D5. So it's getting converted. Definitely it is getting converted, because initially it was just the energy. Stephen Hawking, the black holes, right? So initially it was energy, then from that substance occurred and the density increased. How it happened? This person explained that, Einstein. He says that E equals to mc square, where E is the energy, m is the mass, c is the speed of light. E is the energy, m is the mass, and c is the speed, E equals to mc square. So E is the formless, m is the form, and c is the speed. So this form, if it can be added with a particular speed, this can vanish. If it can be added with the speed, it can vanish. That is what is the proposal of E equals to mc square. But what about this c? C is the speed of light. C is the speed of light, which is 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Right. So in square. That's square, because c square. So it is not at all humanly possible to convert energy into mass. So we can establish it, we can understand it, but please do not step out to convert it, because that conversion will make everything disastrous. Now, in a particular batch, actually I got this counter attack. That individual was not accepting Einstein, that I don't bother for Einstein, what he has proposed. I don't bother. So for him, actually I explained this. I found that this is also a valid understanding of formless and form. The formless moves, everything is moving. Everything is moving for sure, formless or form, if it is living. So the formless goes in a straight line. The formless goes in a straight line, and the form is in a circular motion. Because it is a boundary. It has a boundary. It has a boundary. So the motion that we have within us is a circular motion. Right? Any physics teacher here? Okay. So, okay, never mind. So the physics teacher would have agreed that the linear motion is always higher than the circular motion. Because you try and understand, if the motion is converted, subject that the motion is being converted. So the motion was going this way. Now it has to turn and make it circular. That means it has to be obstructed. It has to be obstructed. So if you just expand that, then it will go like this, like this, like this, like this, further to make a circular motion. So it needs a lot of obstruction, and obstruction means deceleration or reduction of the speed. So to make a formless converted into form, we need to reduce the speed, which is as congruent as the proposal of E equals to mc square. If you add speed to a form, it will become formless. If you take out the speed from the formless, it will become form. Right?
In the limiting case, both become same.
That's a nice one.
Approaching zero.
Yeah. So that ends this session for now, and I request you to join your session. Thank you. And Facebook Live was going on. Bye guys, those who have attended and those who are watching the recordings, welcome.